Hey YouTube, welcome to my channel. JS Dwayne here. Today's date is April the 26th, 2021, and it's going to be April the 27th soon. In today's video, I'm going to talk about being homeless, and this is part two. I forgot to mention important stuff regarding 2012, and I forgot to mention in my last video. And I'm like, when I went through it, because before I put my videos out, I go through everything. I re-listen to my videos to see if I like it or not, and sometimes I re-record it. But most of the time, I don't have to record it. But if I did, I probably lost content or I deleted it by mistake. Probably that's the only time I actually re-record it. But, I forgot to mention, about me living with a friend of mine, my best male friend. And it kind of ruined our relationship for a while. I was friends with him for so many years. And, I didn't really want to waste about 5 years of a relationship due to a personal issue that I was dealing with him during that time. And it was just so much that I was dealing with him. And I was technically homeless and I lived with him for like a little while. And he was young. He was 19 years old, very immature. And I was 24. So we're very different people at that age. I was 24. I was close to near 25. He was 19 in 12th grade. He was still in high school. And he probably didn't turn 20 until the next few weeks later. And we wasn't even talking. We was having a lot of problems because the way that he was treating me, and he knew my situation. And I didn't really have a lot of family to support me, during that time when I was going through what I was going through with my landlord, taking me to court to make sure that I pay my rent. And it was 2 months of rent that I owed. And as I mentioned, so social services actually cut me off. And I wasn't really making a lot of money at my job at Macy's. So I struggled. And this is before I started working at a grocery store warehouse, 5 years later in 2017. Before that, and I was struggling, during that time to pay my rent, and I had no choice to move. And that's when I went to the homeless shelter, to get assistance because I had no one to run to, or who I can, put my trust into, during that time. And my godmother at the time was dealing with teenagers. So she didn't really have time to, deal with me. And me and my father, we wasn't getting along, due to a lot of stuff that was going on between me and him during that time. And, he was living with his ex-girlfriend at the time. And back then she had, a grandson that came over there to sleep over there. So it was no room for me. And then I remember my grandmother was telling me that my father told her that he offered me to move in with him, but I didn't really want to move with him because I didn't really trust him. And I didn't know what he was capable of doing. And I didn't really trust him because what him and his then ex-girlfriend was going through at that time, it was problems between them, and then the situation between me and my father with the whole machete situation. Like, I didn't really trust him, and I don't know what he's capable of doing. So I didn't really live with him. I lived with my godmother for a while, and then I lived with my friend. I'm not gonna put her name out there, but I was living with one of my homegirls, and I still talk with her, but I don't see her like that all the time because she has her own family. So, and I work, so I don't really have time to see her. But I did run into her at her job, and I don't know where she works now, but I ran into her. I think a couple years ago I ran into her. But towards my male friend who I lived with for a while, he was in high school and he was having problems with his family, and he let me in for a while. I thought we was gonna have fun, but it was a lot of drama, and he was putting me down, and he really, really wanted me to spend my money, and I felt like it was just not right. And I hope my friend does not get me for this, but I'm telling my truth, and it was just not fair because when somebody lives with the other individual, they have to share. They have to share rent, share food, and stuff like that. And I thought that living with my friend at the time, who's my best male friend, because we're cool now, but back then we were so young and very immature to deal with certain matters like this. And I didn't really want to throw 5 years of relationship away due to a misunderstanding. And we apologized, and he invited me to go to Florida with him. And he was telling everybody that I was homeless. And, I could admit that, yeah, I was homeless for a while. I didn't really have a place of my own yet. But the way he did it to me, he rubbed it in my face, and it was not cool. But he's a different person now. He's about nearly 30 years old now. So he's a different person at 30 than he was at 19. Those are two different ages. Like most teenagers are very immature. Like younger people who's like 19, 20, 21, they're immature. They're trying to get to know themselves and they trying to figure themselves out. And I was near 25. I was 24 at that time. And, I befriended an 18-year-old boy at that time. And I was a grown man at the time. So I was trying to, figure myself out too. And, he let me in for a while. And then I remember one good time, I had an appointment that day. I remember I had an appointment and it was this girl, because I was taking a shower. It was this girl, it was this black female, nosy girl. She went around telling the landlord that, my friend had a friend that lived over there, and it caused a lot of commotion. And me and my friend was arguing, and this girl was telling my friend's business, what my friend was doing. My friend brought a friend of his to stay over there, and I didn't tell her nothing, and it was just a lot of drama, and I didn't really have no place to go, and I didn't really want to argue with him, and I was afraid that I was gonna get kicked out of his apartment by my own best male friend. Like I didn't want to argue with him at all. I didn't want to cause no commotion because I really wanted to keep the peace, and I just didn't want to argue and go back and forth. And but he was telling him, his friends and stuff like that. Yeah, yeah, my best friend, he's homeless, and I didn't really have nobody to be there for me during that time. And when I left, people started trashing his house, and I felt sorry for him and stuff like that. I felt sorry for him, but I was there with him for like 3 to 4 weeks, and I made a decision to never live with friends ever again because it's like if you live with your friend, I'm afraid that things might change on you. And I already made a vow to never live with my own male best friend ever again because it really ruined our relationship. And I didn't talk to him for a couple years. And when I spoke to him again, he invited me to go to Florida that next year. So this was 2015 was when I went to Florida, and it was the first time that I ever went to Florida. And I'm just like, I would never live with a friend ever again because I'm afraid they might change on you. And he was so young at the time, but he's more mature now, and I got at him about his ways, his shady ways sometimes. Like I got at him about it, and he changed, and he's doing a lot better than compared to back when he was 19 years old. Because I became friends with him in 2009, and he was like 17, about to turn 18, and I told him straight up to his face, like I don't want to be friends with a kid. And then when he turned 18, we became friends, and we became friends in 2010, and we've been friends for nearly 10 years. And there was a couple years where we didn't really talk at all due to living situations and living with him. It was just a very bad personal type of situation that I would never put myself into ever again. And I was homeless, without a home. And this is weeks before I went back to my old apartment. And I was in my old apartment, I think for like about, I was there until that November. And yes, I was dating other people and stuff like that, but I was there to that November. And then I was actually there that September of 2011. Then I had to move out because I couldn't really pay the rent. I couldn't really afford rent because DSS actually cut me off. So I didn't have no choice but to go to a homeless shelter a second time. And as I mentioned in my last video, I don't like going to homeless shelters. I always felt that, going there was very filthy. And I was happy that they had those leather beds instead of those regular mattresses with those box spring because like as I mentioned in my last video, they have to clean that and sanitize that and clean the sheets and stuff like that and take the sheets out of the mattresses and put them on top of the leather mattress so that the people that works there can actually put those not mattresses, but those sheets into the washer and the dryer. So the next person can actually sleep on it the next night. Because it doesn't matter what type of homeless person you are. You can be black, white, Asian, Hispanic, Asian, Arab, whatever, even Latino, whatever. Like homelessness doesn't have no names, no race, no age, or nothing at all. And to me, if you really look at it, it really sucked. And I was in a very tight spot back then, but I'm very happy that I was able to do a lot better now compared to back then. And I was able to get my financial situation under control. And I feel like I'm doing a good job. And I really want to make sure that my mom sees that. You know, she's no longer here. And I really want my mom to be proud of me, of the person that I became, you know, at 33 years old. And my mom told me before she passed away that she really wanted me to go back to college because I believe she knew that I was going to drop out and I'm going to go back, you know, and I really wanted to run my own business and I'm still young, so I still can do that. But, you know, I guess, you know, my mom probably didn't really want that life for me to be on the street and stuff like that and struggle for a few days, 2 to 3 days each time. The first time I was homeless about 2 to 3 times, like 2 to 3 days. I mean, like 2 to 3 days, and the second time, like 3 days. It was a struggle, but I got it together, and I'm doing a lot better than I did before. But I forgot to mention the part with my best male friend. You know, I forgot to mention that I lived with him while I didn't really have a home to go to because my father and his girlfriend was living together, and his ex girlfriend grandson was coming over there living with them, so it was no room for me. And my father offered me to live with him, and I didn't really trust him because I wasn't sure what he was going to do because of what I mentioned to you last video. Like, I don't know what he's going to do, and I didn't really trust him. And I had to tell his mother the truth, my dad's mother, my grandmother, my paternal grandmother, the truth about what was going on, you know. And I didn't want to hide anything or make sure that everything was hidden. You know, I just wanted to let everything out so that everything would be there and so forth. All right, you guys. Peace and love to everybody. You guys have a very good day, night, morning, afternoon, wherever you guys in this world. All right, good day, people, and peace to all.